So after a blistering end to June and a fairly frantic start to July, things have just seemed to calm down on the transfer front at Newcastle United in recent days. As mentioned, young Kuba Minter and Elliot Anderson, they moved to Brighton and Nottingham Forest respectively. That was to help with the profit and sustainability rules. Newcastle, of course, confirmed that John Ruddy and Odysseus Vlachodimos has joined the club. And that all happened within a fairly frantic few days at the stroke of July, but things have just quietened down in recent days. Obviously, Paul Mitchell, the new sporting director, he's just starting his role, and his main role now and for the next few weeks will be to find players for Eddie Howe's first team, ways to strengthen the team that finished last year in seventh in the Premier League. Now you can look back at last year, lots of injury issues, and there's been plenty of dissection of last year. But basically this year, with no European football, they will be targeting a return to the Champions League, certainly, and to do that they're going to need to strengthen in the transfer market. We know they want a right winger, or certainly a versatile forward who can play either in the middle or out wide. That'll be someone they look at. Plenty of names have been linked. Recently, obviously, Michael Elise, he's gone to Bayern Munich, so they missed out on him. Whether that was a move that was going to happen, especially without Champions League football, or certainly European football, would have been an interesting one, but he's gone. They can't concentrate on that anymore. They've seen a young player, Amario Kozia-Derby, move to Brighton, so it'll be interesting to see how the dynamic between him and Minter work. Both very young and very bright players, but obviously both play on that in that wide role, so it'll be interesting how they can coexist. But for Newcastle United, as I said, it's been a slow few days. Lots of transfer links as expected, but very few sort of movement in and out of the club, really. They still want to get rid of some players. People like Isaac Hayden, Jamal Lewis, Ryan Fraser have got no real future at the club. They'll be wanting to get rid of those and get them off their wage books, and if they can get a transfer fee for any of them, that would be brilliant. We've also seen links Callum Wilson, Miguel Almiron, both linked with an exit in January. Are they going to be staying around the club this season? Will anyone come in for them? Particularly in Wilson's case, I think his injury record might deter some clubs, but you just never know. And of course, Miguel Almiron has got interest from Saudi Arabia, but whether he wants to move or not, again, is another debate. But yeah, it's going to be a summer full of exciting moves from Newcastle. They're going to be hopefully, you would like to think they're going to be going big in the market to sign some big names to boost Eddie Howe's first team. I think that's the main thing this summer. I think that the squad depth is probably good enough. They just need to get maybe 2 or 3 big names to really raise the level of their squad and the ability in that squad. Of course, the Lloyd Kelly signing will help straight away, but I think they really need the marquee name almost. Even if it's 1 or 2 big players, just to add a little bit of competition and really take them to the next level. Because last year showed that in games and against most teams, to be honest, they were competing, and they did put on runs, even though injuries all around them. Even though we're down to sort of 12, 13 senior players at one point, they were still picking up wins and big wins. So you'd hopefully they can do that again this year without these injury issues. But as I said, that's going to have to start with some summer signings, and right now it is quiet. But of course, we all know that once one domino falls, the rest sort of can start, and I think that will be the case this summer. That once the big major tournaments that are currently getting played, the international tournaments, once they're done and teams start coming back to pre-season training, Newcastle haven't come back just yet. That's sort of expected to be the end this week. The players will start moving. We'll start to see movements, not just in the Premier League, not just in Newcastle United, but in the Premier League and of course across Europe. And the best way you can stay up to date with all the latest Newcastle United transfer news and updates throughout the summer is, of course, with the Shields Gazette.